On Saturday, July 31st, WWE announced the release of Bray Wyatt. And at this point, it's hard to be surprised about anyone being released from WWE, but Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, was a major star and a major merchandise mover. Fightful would go on to report later that weekend that there are a bunch of top WWE stars that no longer feel that their jobs are safe. Hey, and maybe that's because on the July 29th quarterly earnings call, Vince McMahon made some very odd statements when asked about AEW's most recent talent acquisitions. He said, maybe we can give them more. I'm Ray Joy. I run InstantBellTime.com, a website and database tracking pro wrestling from around the world. On today's show, we're talking about Bray Wyatt, his contributions to wrestling, and his sudden release from WWE. We also have headlines from the weekend. Karl is in the house, and this is the Daily Wrestling News Show for August 2nd, 2021. Where we sort through all the bullshit in wrestling news to find you the truth. All right, Karl, welcome to the show. I can see you are deep into the headlines this morning.
Into the news. That's it. Bray Wyatt. It's Bray Wyatt. Unbelievable, man. Absolutely unbelievable.
It is really weird. So the words going around, right? What Bray Wyatt was told as of he was let go on Saturday. What he was told and what everybody else in the company was told is that it was for budget cuts. Now, budget cuts is a very weird word to use when you have the company announcing enormous revenue growth the day before. Yeah. But budget cuts is what they're saying, and I guess that's what the reason they've been releasing talent all year. He's just the latest name in a long list of people released this year and last year. Braun Strowman, it's kind of hard not to think of Braun Strowman in the same light when you have the entire Wyatt family has been released from WWE in the last, 2 years, I guess. Right? Randy Orton's still there, I guess, as a tangential member of the Wyatt family. But Al, what did you think when you heard the news of Bray Wyatt's release on Saturday?
Yeah, shocked, just like everybody else was, just completely shocked. And I guess looking deeper from what I saw, the first thing I heard from is Bray Wyatt was medically cleared.
Yep.
And he was released. So I think that's in their contract that they could use their medical facilities, whatever, and still get paid and whatnot while they're rehabbing. I think they were just being not the bigger person here, but they were just trying to do the right thing by Bray to make sure he gets healthy first before they cut him loose. I guess it's per contractual obligation. But yeah, I guess is the biggest thing I'm disappointed is we don't get our Bray Wyatt versus Alexa Bliss match. That's what I thought we were headed with after WrestleMania. I thought we were getting it at some point at SummerSlam, but I thought there is some type of magic spoof, whatever thing with Bray and his puppets. I'm wearing my Firefly Funhouse shirt today. We got to look out for Rambling Rabbit. Is he unemployed now? Huskus, that guy's got to eat. He eats a ton. That's probably where a lot of the budget cuts coming from. Poor Huskus.
It's good that you brought up Alexa Bliss because a lot of people have been giving her a hard time, and I believe last I knew her Twitter account even went private because of the hard time that she's been given over this. Because people are saying that, oh my God, they took Bray Wyatt's character, they gave it to Alexa Bliss, and then they let him go. And I'm sure the story is a lot more complicated than that. And even if that is the case, it's certainly not Alexa Bliss's fault, and she's doing great in her job. So let's shift that anger away from Alexa Bliss. I know Mickie James actually made a comment that really stirred a lot of people up. And she went back and clarified afterwards that said, hey, Alexa Bliss is great. This was not meant to be a comment against her. Look, Bray Wyatt is one of the most creative people in wrestling today, and he's not employed anymore. That's the story, right?
Yeah, that's it. You want some eggs, Ryan? My stepdaughter's going to make some eggs for breakfast. It's a morning show. We're having a guest cooking segment as we're going on here. So
yeah, we've never had a cooking segment on the show until today. So I want to make sure when the eggs are complete that we show the camera the finished product.
You got it. So yeah, that's the big thing. A lot of the stuff that Bray did was, I guess, his ideas, like his way of presenting stuff. I know Shane McMahon, from what I heard, way back when the Wyatts first came in, it was mostly all Shane McMahon, and then Bray just took off and ran with it. BJ Prevenka just commented somebody has to save the puppets. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, BJ has a couple of comments in already. He's beyond crushed, cutting the most over guy they had over the past few years and claiming it's for budgets is laughable. And yes, the puppets. Someone has to save the puppets. Well, we have a doll now. We have Lily the doll. I don't know if we're going to get the puppets back, but we have Lily the doll.
But the thing that my question, and another thing that came to mind is with everything that's been going on with Braun Strowman, you cut him for budgetary reasons, and you're going to lowball him to try to get him back. Now, with all the merchandise and stuff that Bray sells, that's why everyone's claiming this isn't a budgetary thing, because Bray sells a ton of merchandise. He had his own championship belt that was flying off the racks, for $2,000, $3,000, or whatever it was for the Fiend Championship. $7,000, even more. So, I think they might just try to lowball him to get him back, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, potentially. Potentially, maybe this is a big negotiating tactic or whatever. To that point about Bray Wyatt's merchandise, I think a lot of people hear that and they may not know. They may not think, oh, I'm sure he's a big character, but maybe he's not selling that much merch. When I went to Survivor Series 2019, when you go to a WWE live show, you go to the merch stand and you have about 6 talents represented there typically.
Yeah.
You have your Sasha Banks shirt, you have your John Cena shirt, regardless of whether he's active or not, and you've got maybe 3 or 4 other guys. Bray Wyatt, in the 2019 Survivor Series when I went, which was like the height of the Fiend, we had all of the puppets, we had the mask, we had the gloves, we had shirts, we had all kinds of Bray Wyatt merchandise, and that stuff was going off the shelf like crazy. Yeah. So it's totally different than any other person that they had on the roster at the time. Nobody else had that many different pieces of merchandise that were being sold, as well as he's going to be on the cover shirt or whatever the event is and stuff like that as well. So it seems like his merchandise alone would pay for his salary, but I mean,
yeah, and he was champ at that Survivor Series. I forget who he wrestled. No, Ray, because they wanted to keep him and Brock Lesnar away. Not to mention it was when NXT invaded too. So everyone was like, "What would happen if Brock Lesnar fought Bray Wyatt, fought Adam Cole?" That was the big Adam Cole running meme, like getting away from those two. But I forget. Yeah, but Bray was the best thing going, and then he ran into Goldberg, and now we're here.
Yeah. The Goldberg thing certainly did derail him for a bit, and actually it kind of goes back before that because Bray Wyatt's peak, I believe, was going into Hell in a Cell against Seth Rollins. And when they did that, no finish in the Hell in a Cell match, and the fans chanted CM Punk, and it was a major, major boo. I think after that, yes, he won the championship after that, but I feel like he was on a downward trend ever since then. So
BJ Simon, it was Daniel Bryan. Yeah, thank you, BJ. Love the graphic, by the way. Love the lone wolf right there. I got you, Benevolent King. I got you. Everyone, eyes on Baron Corbin, real quick. Is he okay? I know his wife just left him as of Friday. Everything is just not going well. I actually felt bad for him on Friday. Switching gears here because he's trying to put himself. He almost had that name on his contract. Tried to get the big payday to fight Roman Reigns. And then here comes selfish Cena again, just stepping on the little guy to make sure that his name's on the marquee, not anybody else's.
Okay, let's pause the Bray Wyatt stuff for a second because there's some SummerSlam stuff here to talk about that I had kind of queued up. And since you brought up Baron Corbin, of course, we have the SummerSlam special coming up August 21st. Al, you'll be hosting. It says 3 p.m. here. Yep. Stay tuned. We may have a little something that we have to change there, depending on what Impact is doing.
Impact's going to do it to us again. They did it to us at WrestleMania, and they're going to do it to us again. Shout out, again, when Tommy Dreamer's running things, he's just got balls to the wall. He'll go up against WrestleMania. He's going to go up against SummerSlam, too.
Absolutely. So John Cena gets his match. Finn Balor's out there to sign the contract. The contract says Finn Balor on it. John Cena swoops in, makes puts his signature on there. Obviously, we're going Corbin versus Balor, maybe. Although I think that's coming up on Friday. So unless they have a reason to extend it out, maybe Corbin gets a win there. We see Demon Balor at SummerSlam. I'm not sure. But in any case, that's our most recent update for SummerSlam. We have Nikki Ash versus Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. We have officially Roman Reigns versus John Cena, because any two signatures on a piece of paper is good enough for Adam Pearce.
Yeah.
Potentially tonight we'll get the confirmation of Goldberg versus Lashley, and then we have Edge versus Rollins. Tiffany Haddish is going to host the official SummerSlam after party. We've got your pre-party with the SummerSlam pre-show, so do hook up with us on August 21st to watch that. Al, going back to Bray Wyatt for just a second. What do you make of the comment that Vince made in the quarterly earnings call? And I don't know if you've heard it or if you read about it or whatever, but he was asked about CM Punk and Daniel Bryan signing with AEW.
Mm-hmm.
And Vince basically said, I don't really know what they're doing in terms of talent or signing. We're not in competition with them. And then his voice kind of got garbled, and he said, maybe we can give them more. And in some ways, there are a lot of people who are like, oh my God, they're going to give them more talent. And other people are saying that it might have been him looking to Nick Khan. Of course, this is the audio conference, so you can't see that. Looking to Nick Khan and saying, maybe you can elaborate on the point more. But it's awfully funny that he made that comment in that topic, and then the next day or a day and a half later, they let Bray Wyatt go. So,
yeah, I think the thing was he felt that WCW was bigger competition than AEW is, and I guess to a point because they were on the same night. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think Vince really looked at the Wednesday Night Wars as everybody else did.
Sure.
As you know, the rumor going around, Vince doesn't care about NXT when 95% of his roster came from NXT. But I just think he knew it was going to leak out. If he ever mentioned those three letters, it's going to be leaked out. It's going to be quoted, and Vince said this, and it's going to blow up. So might as well make a joke. Yeah, let's just give him some more of our talent. Whatever.
So there is a lot to be said about the whole they're not our competition, and Nick Khan going on to explain, like Netflix says, Sleep is their competition. They're a content provider. Everybody is their competition. AEW is just kind of one piece of it. And when you compare it to WCW, from my view, they're not what WCW was, at least not yet. They're not. If they get to a point where they're pulling in stronger ratings per week and they're beating them in different segments of the overall business, then I think WWE will kind of change their tune and then start looking at them as more direct competition. But until that point, I don't think that's something that's not the way they're going to look at the situation.
No, and the way everybody looks at it, this is just another platform for more wrestlers to be on TV. It's just another wrestling show, and that's great because now all these guys that are being released, that means, you know what? We're not screwing them over. We don't own the monopoly anymore.
Yeah,
they can go wrestle. They'll be on TV. That's fine. Just go. We'll save our money. That's the only thing I can think of where he's coming. I just think it was, it's a backhanded comment. He just, but Vince is going to mention not paying attention. Oh my God.
One thing I will say is that I feel like WWE has done a great job of dominating the news cycle. Whenever they seem to have, even if there's like a lull midweek, they have some big news story that gets dropped. Like, Monday they have usually a buzz coming off of Raw, and then, midweek they're going to announce Tiffany Haddish, and then they have their earnings, and then Saturday they're going to release Bray Wyatt. They're getting talked about no matter what the situation is. So
yeah, no, even bad press is still press.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. So Bray Wyatt, he can't go to AEW and bring the Bray Wyatt name. He can't go to Impact and bring the Wyatt family. He can't go to MLW or GCW or ROH and bring the Wyatt family. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda, shows up someplace else. Will he show up with IRS and Bo Dallas behind him? I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, the thing is, but you got Bo Dallas, you got Braun Strowman. They're all Rowan's out there. I mean, it's just Daniel Bryan has a connection with Rowan and all that. It's stuff's out there, and it's gonna be fun because people are gonna be excited. Just like they are for Rampage when it's going to Chicago with Punk and Daniel Bryan. It's gonna be Bray Wyatt's turn in 90 days, and it's gonna be fun to see where he lands, if he lands. So who knows, even if he's gonna want to keep going? Who said he wants to keep going?
Right. And last I knew, JoJo is still under contract. So and there's the final product
There it is.
for our cooking show.
There we go.
During our main topic discussion, eggs were produced, eggs were made. And how did we do on the show? How did we do on the show, Al, since you had a bite here?
Everything's going great. She put the little cheese in them, nice little added touch to it. Very, very good. I'm in.
All right. Well, Al enjoys his breakfast this morning. We are going to go to a short commercial break. When we get back, we have all the headlines. Al has a few rumors that he's brought to the table, and we'll see what we have to do about those. And so stick with us. We'll be right back. If you love the Daily Wrestling News Show, then I want to tell you how you can support us. First, check out bodyslamclothes.com. You can get a variety of shirts for just $20, and all of them come in the super soft style, and the price you see includes all sizes and shipping. Get 10% off 2 or more shirts with the promo code SHIRTS10. Go to bodyslamclothes.com right now to check it out. And join Joey Jarzenka, Ian Schreier, and Rob DeLuca on Monday nights for the Primetime Rundown. They take you through the world of sports, which kicks off each Monday at 7 p.m. on the Eastern Observer. And each Tuesday, Karl hosts the Essential Wrestling Podcast alongside John Smith, myself, John DeConnie, and Gary Mahaffey. It's another week of updates and highlights in the world of wrestling. Here are our analysis on who we think is going to win the week's matches. Coverage begins at 6 p.m. on the Eastern Observer. And Pro Wrestling Pick'em. It's a place where you can join or host a Pick'em League to test your predictive skills in the world of pro wrestling. Create an account and join a league now at ProWrestlingPick'em.com so you can play against your friends or play against the universe. And the Body Slam Brigade newsletter, currently going out to over 4,200 people each Friday. It consolidates all the top stories in professional wrestling into a quick-to-read email written by me for you for free. Sign up now at bodyslambrigade.com. And of course, this show, the Daily Wrestling News Show. We're here every day, Monday through Thursday, and occasionally on Friday. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, or watch us live on Facebook and YouTube at 10 a.m. This is the Daily Wrestling News Show, and we thank you for your support. All right, we're back. And Al, you at the top of the show were reading the dirt sheets. So I'd like to know.
I just want to show everybody I'm a part of the Clean Play Club. It was very delicious. Let's see what we got on the news today.
Yeah, you had some rumors you were reading. This is not the most reputable news source you're pulling stuff from. What do you got?
So the first thing in big letters, Brock Lesnar's contract situation. Apparently he's signed with somebody else other than WWE, or is he going? I have it written down. Brock Lesnar to AEW. There, those signs are everywhere. What's going on with our beloved Beast Incarnate here?
Beloved Beast Incarnate. But you got to use that alliteration whenever you can, I guess. So Brock Lesnar, there were things coming out recently about him signing elsewhere, and whether or not that happens, I'm not sure. WWE is probably waiting a little bit and thinking about Brock Lesnar as, sort of, if they've got The Rock lined up for WrestleMania next year, they're going to need something for Roman afterwards. So I think they're putting a little pause on Brock for now. Plus, if Brock waits, he'll get more money the longer he waits. So I think Brock is just biding his time. In regards to AEW, Dave Meltzer wrote in the Wrestling Observer newsletter this past week that there has never been a discussion with Tony Khan about bringing Brock Lesnar in. He costs too much. It wouldn't make good business sense for them. So,
wow, I didn't think that Tony Khan had a price limit. I mean, he just picks up everything. He's got a little land of misfit toys over there, and it just seems like he's throwing money at everybody. But he has a limit, and then Brock Lesnar's like, wow, that's news for you.
Yeah, well, when you think about it, he may not have a limit in the sense that he would pay the Brock Lesnar salary, but not for 2 dates or 3 dates type of thing. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Staying with AEW, my first couple of ones are all AEW. As we all know, Darby Allin alluded last week to wanting to fight the best in the world. So rumors of Darby Allin versus Shane McMahon at All Out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what they meant, Al.
Hey, he won the tournament. That's his name.
That's right. And what's his name? The ring announcer, Greg Hamilton, will let us know that Shane McMahon is the best in the world and will go on forever, as he says it. I'm pretty sure that Darby was referring to CM Punk. At least that's what the 12,000 people that bought tickets to the United Center Rampage show were thinking. Although maybe they thought it was Shane McMahon. I doubt it. Shane McMahon did. It just came out in a press release this morning. Take a new job with Ideanomics. Don't know what that means, but don't know what that means in regards to his WWE position. But pretty sure it meant CM Punk.
Okay, and staying with contract talks, Adam Page, okay, so he lost his elimination match, not getting his title fight. Now, there's rumors going around. It might be because his wife is having a baby. He's missing All Out, which sounds like it's right. But I'm also, somebody threw something out that he actually turned down a contract extension.
I'm going to push the bullshit button on that one because I just have not seen that any place where I'm comfortable saying that was, that there's been a confirmation of sources or anything like that. So I'm going to push the bullshit button on that and say, let's stay tuned. I bet Adam Page gets a match down the road, but I haven't heard anything about whether or not he's refused to sign a new contract or anything like that. I will say that maybe it has something to do with his family situation. And I think that there was a plan at one point for him to wrestle Omega at All Out, but then they signed Christian Cage. So
yeah. I saw a video. I don't know if it was one of these like this days in history video. It didn't say that, but it was a flashback. Apparently, it was from Impact, so I have to use their Impact names. It was BG James and Bully Ray. Okay, they were going back and forth, had an argument. One quote was, "Your mother's so fat that when I get on top of her, ears pop." I got the other ones. Your mother's so fat that her shadow weighs 45 pounds. And the other one says, your mother's so poor that she has to go to Kentucky Fried Chicken to lick other people's fingers. So is there any rumors, any actuality that these are true about BG James's mother and Bully Ray's mother? Not now.
Man, I haven't heard there's certainly no confirmation of sources on that. So.
Okay, I just figured it was true if it was Impact.
Well, in the Impact universe, it could be true because Impact is a different realm of existence. So,
and the funny thing was, Devon was right next to Bully. As you know, they have different mothers.
Right.
It was Big Daddy Dudley that was doing all the damage in Dudleyville. So, Devon did not get offended by any of this stuff. Natalya had her surgery. It looks like it was a minor surgery. There was a picture of, I guess, Tyson wheeling her out of the hospital. And it sounds like they're not going to have to vacate the tag team championships.
Yeah, Natalya said her doctor referred to her as an anomaly. So it was an injury, whether it was her ankle or her knee. But it sounds like her recovery is going to be relatively quick. Natalya says she couldn't wait to defend the tag titles and she wasn't going to let this injury prevent her from doing so. So I assume she'll be on the shelf for a little bit, but it sounds like it's going to be a relatively quick recovery from a surgery. So
yeah, good for her. Good for her because we want to see because we got that match. Tegan and Shotzi, they have the next crack at them. So I'm kind of hoping. We'll be 3 weeks away from SummerSlam. I'm kind of hoping we can get that going there. Stephen Amell, who we've seen in AEW. We saw at SummerSlam a couple years ago with a guy named Neville. I'm not sure what happened to him, but he's filming, or he does film his new show Heels. Is a wrestling show coming out on Netflix, I believe, in 2 weeks on the 15th. He actually fractured his back while filming the show.
Yeah, so it was a compression fracture. So Stephen Amell was also in All In. And on the All In show, he did a coast to coast. So he was telling Renee Paquette on her show Oral Sessions about doing a coast to coast for the show Heels that they're doing. And he did the first take and it was great, except he didn't really feel like he had gone as far. He didn't quite get the distance he wanted to get. So he said, let's do another take. And when another take, it felt like the wind was completely knocked out of him when he hit the ground. And apparently he has what's called a compression fracture. He says it sounds a lot scarier than it is, but true story. Stephen Amell gets a compression fracture on while shooting a wrestling show, as opposed to while participating in a wrestling show.
Yeah, so that's August 15th. Coming out actually on Netflix. And then speaking of, we're going to stay in the movie industry here because John Cena has his new movie coming out Friday, The Suicide Squad. There's a behind-the-scenes report here that Warner Brothers spent over $20 million in CGI technology in the new movie, the new DC comic movie, The Suicide Squad, so that people could actually see John Cena with their human eyes.
I think that's bullshit. I think that in the wrestling world we say we can't see John Cena, but we actually can.
Or it could be like Roman Reigns, and you don't want to see John. It's missionary position. For everybody watching, missionary position it's a bench press in the gymnasium. It's a workout, but it gets old after a while.
Yeah.
Adam Cole's contract apparently up at this month. This broke maybe about an hour ago.
Yeah, this is fairly recent news that Adam Cole's contract, and this I saw at both Fightful and the Wrestling Observer, his contract was actually up in July, but he went to WWE and agreed to work through SummerSlam weekend and then revisit the contract situation after that. So they basically did a quick contract extension to get him to the end of the next takeover, and then they're going to reassess the situation, what they're going to do forward from there, which is good because then you can kind of put a period at the end of the Kyle O'Reilly story if they want. Maybe they negotiate him up to the main roster or a long-term NXT deal without going to the main roster or whatever. Or maybe he leaves. But in any case,
he can't leave. They can't afford to let him leave. They can't.
But in any case, even if he were, he'd be going about things in a very professional manner. So
100%. Yeah, he's finishing. Him and Hunter are like this. We were talking about pre-production. Him and Hunter, Hunter did right by Adam Cole. 400-day reign as champion. You can't complain with that. And not to mention, he's making sure his best friend gets put over. So, this is 100% professionalism on Adam Cole's behalf. And he should get rewarded for that, to be honest with you. Could have been a D-hole and just walk right away.
So I know we're a few weeks away from, even the match being announced and even, the actual event that weekend. But I guess you're making an early pick for Kyle O'Reilly on that weekend, huh?
Apparently, yes. If this story didn't break, I might have went with Cole, but I feel like this is... Well, you don't know. Maybe he's going to sign the contract, do the Brock Lesnar, right? Remember Lesnar's contract was up at WrestleMania, and then they ended up winning because he signed the day before, and nobody knew about it. And what the hell's going on? Oh, Brock signed yesterday. Damn it.
And BJ Pravanka reminding us that not everybody is a big Adam Cole fan, and he says Hunter did us wrong by giving Adam Cole that long reign. So,
teach their own.
Teach their own.
This is unfortunately, or this is not wrestling related, but unfortunately, Ryan, I'm going to do your job for you. This is a true story. A man in China almost dies after inserting live eel into his rectum to cure his constipation. What is going on with China, Ryan? They're eating bats and now they're sticking eels in their asses?
I think it all stems back to John Cena not thinking Taiwan was part of China.
And actually, I brought this paper in as a prop. It was a funny joke. I thought it was a good way to start the show. I'm actually reading it. Good, awesome story right here. Actually, legit story, front page. An unopened Legend of Zelda video game, the 1987 game, unopened, $870,000 it sold for.
Wow.
Greatest video game of all time. Video games peaked in 1987. Did you know that, right?
I did not.
Yeah.
But have you finished all your the dirt sheet?
Yeah, my news is done. I can start making up some more stuff though. Just give me.
No, that's a great segue into headlines.
There you go.
Okay, so the 1987 Zelda video game. The reason why that made me think of this is because you and I were talking before the show about the popularity of baseball cards and stuff like that when we were kids, and how much they're not worth $750,000 today. When you would get a card from your uncle or whatever, and you'd say, "Oh, this will put your kids through college." Not really the case anymore. But despite all that, AEW did sign a deal with Upper Deck over the weekend or last week to have the exclusive rights for the AEW trading card series.
Yeah, that card you mentioned, I was telling my uncle got me a Mario Lemieux rookie card that was going to put my kids through college. I believe eBay is selling it for $150 right now.
Should have sold that years ago.
Yeah, and I do actually believe, okay, so now we're going to make up some more rumors and headlines here. I believe Shotzi Blackheart also signed with Upper Deck, but to poop in the tops of the toilets. And no? Okay.
There's no truth to the Upper Deck company portion of this story, but if you would like to Google Shotzi Blackheart and items she's sold in the past, there is some truth to that.
Yes. She likes Upper Deckers.
Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, PWG, returned over the weekend. Excalibur was in the house. He welcomed the crowd, and in addition to Excalibur, they also had Malachi Black, Evil Uno, and Orange Cassidy on the show from AEW. The champion, Bandito, was in the house, along with Jonathan Gresham and Brody King from Ring of Honor. Black Taurus was there, and a ton of GCW regulars were on the show. So jam-packed house over there in California. And, of course, this is not something that's live streamed. You have to wait for the DVD release. They are so old school, that PWG company.
Yeah, but you smile on my face. If you give me Black Taurus and Malachi Black in a match, or even have to tag that, just I know you said you had a busy weekend and whatever. For those of you, we didn't cover Homecoming today, but the Josh Alexander Black Taurus match was absolutely incredible. The unfortunate thing was, okay, Black Taurus, he doesn't work for them apparently. He's still with AAA. I screwed that one up. I thought he was signed by Impact. But everyone knew Josh Alexander was going to win. But you're just like, oh my God, I don't care about the winner of this. Like, this is going to be absolutely incredible. And it was. So if there was one match to watch from Homecoming, Josh Alexander and Taurus is on fire.
Well, let's go ahead and continue with that line of thinking about Impact and Impact Homecoming. So great match there with Alexander and Black Taurus. Also, we have a new Homecoming King and Queen.
Like there was never any doubt, right?
No, there wasn't, because it was the Drama King, and Deonna Purrazzo wore a crown out to her last match. So everything makes sense.
Hashtag Jersey Strong. She got herself a great partner, and she got herself a new crown to add to her collection. She is now the official queen of Impact Wrestling to go along with.
Al, did they have any formal coronation on the show?
I don't believe so. I fell asleep actually.
That has to happen on Thursday, I think, right?
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Okay, well, we were talking about Suicide Squad a little bit ago. That comes out this weekend, and they've already opened in a few international markets. They've got about $5 million made on that. But Jungle Cruise came out last week, and they did $62 million in theaters and $30 million on Disney+. That's, of course, The Rock's latest film. So there you go.
Yeah, and it's crazy how much money he made on Disney Plus, because we were talking about pre-production. This is not wrestling related. I like the MCU. Scarlett Johansson is suing Disney because of Disney Plus, because her movie was released on Disney Plus and it wasn't in her contract. So it's amazing. I don't know how much money she didn't make or did make because of that. It's an interesting. I gotta look a bit deeper into this, but yeah, well, Rocky just prints money.
Yeah. And this is somewhat non-wrestling related because it's more like movie industry. But I think that a lot of disruption in that industry, and maybe it is wrestling related, because SummerSlam is going to be in the movie theaters this year, along with AEW did their last pay-per-view in the movie theaters. So, when you return to the closed circuit type of thing, now you have direct distribution over Peacock, plus the movie theater distribution. They don't really split revenue with talent the way you do with movies, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see like what the numbers are. And now WWE is going to have something close to pay-per-view again, which they haven't had in years.
Yeah, it was WrestleMania's 1 and 2 were in the theaters. I can't remember.
Definitely one was closed circuit. I bet you 2 was as well. So. All right. We already mentioned AEW Rampage, the second show, the 10 o'clock p.m. on Friday show, August 20th, seemingly the debut of CM Punk with the company. They've already sold over 12,000 tickets in the pre-sale. The on-sale is actually today, and whatever they have left is sure to go like that. So
yeah. This is episode 2, right, of Rampage. Episode 1 is on the 13th, right?
Yes. Yep.
This is episode 2.
So they're starting off strong. They got a live show in Pittsburgh for episode 1, and they have a live show in Chicago for episode 2. And man, I never thought they would sell 12,000 tickets for a Rampage. I thought they were going to be going to the ECW Arena or something small venue like that, 2,500 people, and that would be what Rampage is. But I guess if they, tease out rumors and things about signing CM Punk, they can sell 12,000 tickets.
Yeah, because when we were just having this conversation, when I first heard about Rampage, I'm like, okay, they're just televising Dark. It's gonna be 1 hour, 3 matches of so and so versus Inaction, and that's the end of it. But it's on TV, and it'll get people tuning in. Yeah, I hope they take this seriously because they need this extra hour right now. Whether it is 10 o'clock on a Friday, it's irrelevant. But they have over 100 guys on an active roster. Like, you need something more on television. I know they have the YouTube stuff and whatever, but they need something more on a national television, scene to get this going.
This is the SmackDown to their Raw, basically. Yeah. AEW also signed a deal to broadcast Dynamite and Rampage over in India. So that's a deal that just broke this morning. And finally, Braun Strowman will wrestle in Qatar. It'll be his first appearance post WWE. Also on that same card, Brian Cage, Jon Moxley, Sammy Guevara, and a whole bunch of others. So there you go.
What's Strowman going by? What's his indie name?
I don't know.
Okay.
So we'll see. Like you mentioned before, though, I think it's just a matter of time before he ends up back with WWE under a smaller contract.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, and I hope they do the same with Bray. Like I said, it's I know everyone, the money is the almighty dollar, and that speaks the loudest. But Bray Wyatt, everyone's already, BJ said it earlier. We didn't put it up here to the Dark Order, and I get it. It fits perfectly because he would take over for Brody, and it would. But it would. It's just there's just too much over there right now. It really is.
I think this stuff about the Dark Order is a lot more sensitive than people give it credit for. I think that it's too hard. They can't just replace Brody. I think that's almost impossible task to do.
Yeah, I hope they don't even try. I guess if there is a person, it is Bray, because that's it's almost synonymous. Like they kind of walk together. So
yep. Okay, so for Monday Night Raw tonight, we have Goldberg on the show. We have Riddle going against Amos. I hope it lasts about 27 seconds, because if it goes longer than that, we might be in trouble. Nikki Ash versus Charlotte in a no-holds-barred match.
Ooh,
so
no holds barred. I didn't realize that. Okay. She's still losing, though. Nikki's still going to lose.
No holds will be barred. Everything's legal. Wrist lock, figure 8, it's all legal.
That's it.
All right. It's usually the holds aren't what we're usually worried about. It's usually the steel chairs and stuff.
Yeah. The holds, exactly.
Instead of no holds barred, it should be all weapons allowed. Anyway, Al, did we miss anything?
No, that's it. I said we gotta have Goldberg. I think we're good. I have the Legend of Zelda. Yep, John Cena, $20 million CGI. Yep. Okay, I think we're
ready.
Eggs were delicious. It was our first cooking segment. Thank you, Kira. They were absolutely great, and that's it for me.
All right. Well, for Al, I'm Ryan. We'll see you tomorrow.